Now for a quick topic, we turn to the Australian Labor Party's National Campaign Review, which is the review by which they try and understand why they lost the unlosable election and why Scott Morrison was able to get up and say that he won the miracle election. Basically, they've identified 5 categories of people who cost them the election in May of this year. The first one is Queenslanders. The second one is Chinese Australians. The third one is coal mining communities. Fourth one is young voters. And drumroll please, the fifth one is Christians. Quoting from the report, it says Labor as a whole did not project an image that was appealing to devout Christians. Announcing Labor's sexual and reproductive health strategy 10 weeks from the election enabled Conservative groups to target Christian voters in marginal electorates around the country and in traditionally safe Labor seats in Western Sydney. It also said Labor lost some support among Christian voters, particularly devout first-generation migrant Christians. They're referring to Western Sydney there, I think. And also from the conclusion, Recommendation 6, Labor should broaden its support base by improving its standing with groups within the Christian community. Now, they haven't really done a deep dive on some of the policy issues that they had. For example, about a year ago today, you had Senator Penny Wong trying to ram through the Senate a bill that would have stopped Christian schools from being able to be Christian and face lawsuits indeed for teaching Christian things. All those optics really piled up to create an anti-religious sentiment from Labor, and people started to feel it. And we can't forget too that Israel Folau lost his job officially from Rugby Australia the eve of the election on Friday, and Saturday was the election day. So that also brings the religious freedom issue front and centre. And if a party is already on the nose with their religious acceptance and friendliness, then of course it's going to cause grave problems. Labor has seen some of this. Labor has clearly written it in their report, which is a big deal, citing campaigns from Christian groups. We did some of that, others did some of that. Now, what have they done since? Well, there have been some changes. Are Labor engaging more openly with groups like ACL, including the opposition leader himself? Yes, it's fair to say, yes, they are. Are the most ardent advocates of anti-religious policies like Penny Wong being very, very quiet since the election? Yes, she is. In fact, Tanya Plibersek's also being quiet. There's others who were at the forefront of this stuff have gone very quiet. Opposition leader attendance at the national breakfast, that was a thing. National prayer breakfast, sorry, that was a thing. He came along. He even said a few words. The opposition talk of supporting the government on the religious discrimination bill is now widespread. So they're saying, well, should we just let this one go through? Should we just not oppose it? Because, after all, we're on the nose with Christian voters. That's a real thing. Also comments from opposition MPs about the need to be nicer to religious voters. Several examples exist. The most notable one was Chris Bowen straight after the federal election when he came out and said, well, in my electorate I lost support from religious people because we were on the nose with them. Yes, there were other things in the election. Nobody denies that. There were franking credits, there was Adani, there was an unpopular leader, etc. But if Christians were not a key concern, then Labor wouldn't be making these small changes and Labor would not be recognising it so openly in their election review report. We can say, in fact, that the common theme with all of the electorates that swung to the coalition was strong religious communities. Those electorates in the nation that were the 20 most religious electorates, they actually swung to the coalition at double the rate of the national average. And the inverse was true with those with the least religious electorates, largely swinging towards Labor. There was a faith element which ran right through the election theme as much as there were other elements taking place. So can you see how that by standing up and being heard, the political climate can be affected? Real difference can be made. A party which some people were really concerned was drifting away irrevocably from Christians has suddenly put the brakes on, and there's change happening. When we speak up, we can be heard. I mean, our campaign involved what? Chisholm, Bass and Boothby, 3 of the 4 seats that made the difference in the campaign. And when you target 60,000 homes and you win, and the seat is won by what, a couple hundred votes, that's pretty incredible. Now, we're not party partisan. We would support a Labor candidate if they were of high quality. We'd support a Liberal candidate if they're of high quality. Or we'd run a campaign that would have the effect of supporting them. That would be no problem. But the reality is that Labor's policies were a problem. And we can be grateful that there is some acknowledgement of that and there are some changes being made. However, and here's the point, and many of you are already thinking this, politicians will, if at all possible, they will change the sales pitch, but they won't change the product. They'll just bury those policies that are more controversial to a certain group, and they'll just get on and do what they were going to do, but they'll do it with different words, they'll do it with different sales tactics, they'll do it with different, a different presentation to the community. We have to be very careful about that. And real transformation, it's true, will be very hard. It will require people to lay aside deep convictions. So don't hold your breath and don't take their efforts lightly. Actions speak louder than words. Let's wait to see what happens next. That is very important. And here's the thing. They've said that they should hold their ALP National Conference by the end of 2020, which means that there will be that moment where they actually redraft their campaign, they redraft their national policy platform, which they will take to the next federal election. All eyes should be on that, and we should be looking for some good things to be included. But hey, this is a good news story. We look forward to the ALP engaging. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, then make sure to hit the like button. If you want to never miss another video again, make sure to subscribe, or you can right now watch more videos right here. Cheers.